And Gian, did I see that there's a taxonomic guide either put out by Greater Farallones or Cordell Bank, or is one being worked on? I thought I heard something about that.
Cordell Bank has their guide. Caitlin Grafe and Danny Lipsky worked on that. And I think a third person may have also contributed to it. I'm not positive.
Pest control, you could do the gauges and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also use kind of in-house made guides pulled together from Mbari images. There's a wonderful series that Tom Ladig has developed that he shared with me that has all of the different rockfish at most of the depths that I'm used to diving at, which is a bit more shallow. And then there's also some corals and sponge, more like a PDF that we've put together. But you're right, yeah. There's not much on as far as a bookshelf book.
The West Coast region of National Marine Sanctuaries has a deep sea species identification guide. Also, that has some really nice pictures of some of the corals and sponges and things like that. So it's another, it's very kind of glamour shot imagery, which is nice.
Yeah, the educators, the outreach and education team of each of the 5 West Coast sanctuaries has done a really great job at developing various curricula. Justin, can you, are you on? Can you tell us about this curriculum? I know that there's the sea sketch for teachers and posters and just some really wonderful visuals, and I think they even have like practice transects for the kids.
Yeah, so that's the West Coast Region's Office of National Marine Sanctuaries Deep Sea Coral Curriculum. And Rietta Homan worked a lot on that, and all the education coordinators from the 5 West Coast sanctuaries, and lots of other people too. And it does include sample transects, and students can be assigned a group or a species, and they can be looking out for doing counts as the transect goes on. And the transects are in some of the different national marine sanctuaries from cruises just like this. So it's kind of real footage. And it can be like a single 1-hour program that we can facilitate with a teacher, or it's developed actually to be a multi-day experience if they want it. There's all these kind of expansion modules. So that's a popular program. We're offering virtual programs right now at Greater Farallones, and I know Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary is as well, and a number of the other sanctuaries. And that's been one of our offerings. I think we might actually, my colleagues might be teaching deep sea coral programs the next week or so, somewhat in celebration of the Nautilus cruise.
All right, well, we have completed that transect, and we're gonna sit down for a minute for a quick pilot bio break, and we can talk about our next moves. Are we thinking?
This also.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, Sam, this also looks like a nice area for maybe attempting another push core.
Copy that.
Let's see how deep this is.
Get settled in then. Here.
Okay, something was just swimming by. Now I can't pick it up, but I swear it looked like almost like an appendicularian. Where did it go? There. See it going to the right?
Yeah. And what was the species you mentioned?
Well, it looks like when you see the larvation houses, or what's inside. And maybe that one was in the process. So they build these big mucus houses, and then they pump water through. You can see their tail pumping, and they filter all that marine snow out. And then once their filtering house made of mucus gets clogged up, they ditch it and they swim away from it and then they have to build a new one. So, I mean, there is some portion of time when they're naked. I don't know if that's what that was. Might be.
The shell looked very similar to it
Mm.
from a distance.
So, Jan, I was wondering whether or not we'd be able to, I think you have to, what, have 100 meters in between transects?
Yes.
Is that right? Whether or not we wanted to try to do, this is some of the softest we've seen, and whether or not we want to keep trying to get one more transect before we head up slope into what might be rockier terrain again.
Let's see if Caitlin and Tom are still on the line. Maybe they can give us some preference. I know we could definitely do a push core here.
Pardon?
Yeah, we want to do a push core here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually see, you can actually see little burrows. So that here, that might be a good sign that we have some thicker sediments.
So are you thinking a push core right kind of in front in the frame where those two potential bioturbations are? Steve just threw 3 numbers up on the telestrator that looked like it was, I don't know, the lotto or something. Or Price is Right numbers.
Yeah, we have this telestrator that allows us to actually precisely indicate the location of a certain sample we might want to take. And there are these numbers for cores that we used in the last cruise that were really useful. It's been really helpful. I don't know.
Yeah, we got to figure out a way to get it streamed out.
So, Caitlin, we were considering starting another transect here because this was the first kind of soft, flat substrate that we've seen in this part of the canyon. So, would you like another transect? We just ended another transect, and you usually want to have 100 meters in between. So the question is, would you like another soft, what could be a soft transect here? We would just go in the same heading. Okay, yeah, So we'll keep with the standard protocol of keeping some distance in between each transect. So we'll after we try our push core here.
So how
After we
hard
try
are
our
you
push core
driving
here.
down?
Pretty hard. You might want to.
It's okay.
All right.
We could just jack the gain here. There.
So are we looking at these 2 push cores right in the middle? Or sorry, 2 areas of bioturbation that are now on the left frame of the screen, bottom left?
It doesn't necessarily have to be in an area of bioturbation. We were just commenting on the bioturbation and the amount, considering the depth of the sediment.
One? Yeah.
So I would think just right out in front.
Yep. The star looks good.
That's pretty cool. You can draw area.
Yeah. And push out the box.
Yep.
Yeah, as Jan said, I think we'd want to avoid anywhere with an obvious burrow.
Guess we'll go for it again.
That's a good point. Don't want any accidental samples that don't need to be there.
Yeah, the purpose of these push cores is really to get the top layers of the sediment to see what the marine snow is, and basically what the food is for the corals.
Gotcha.
Much for that. Is that all floppy?
I think the handle's a little loose.
I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna not do that one.
Yeah. I'll make
You
a
were
note.
pushing on it pretty hard before, so yeah, I think that one needs some help. That looks like it's ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
that one's off the list. That's just
That
that
was
one.
on the list. We've only got 5, Bob.
Yeah, I know. Can I throw this in here?
Sure. Yeah. Anywhere.
One more time. Oh. I got wrist drift too here. Hang on.
I think after the last cruise, the push cores are like, I'm done. I give up.
Definitely we're getting a lot of use on the last cruise. With all the seep sampling.
And for people watching at home, if you want to watch the mechanical arm, I believe it's channel 3. If you're zoomed in on channel 1, you can go to channel 3 to see the excitement.
Better. Oh man. I don't know. Maybe those weren't really dialed in there. That came off pretty easy.
Going for number 1 again?
What's that?
Are you going for the wobbly one again?
No.
At least it's staying on.
Well, not anymore. It's all. I pushed on it really hard, so it's different. It's loose, but in a different way. See, it's not.
Oh yeah.
See, the nut's not on there now. It's just kind of. Yeah, this gripper is not great for doing tube cores.
Good for coral, not for cores.
So Jen, it looks like Abby is wondering about a pipe cleaner, basically a singular stalk carnivorous sponge.
Yeah, I saw
Pipe
that.
cleaner
So,
type.
yeah, if I recall correctly, we did collect some of those last year. That's way out, deep depths at Davidson. And I could reach out to Amanda Conch, she would know, but I don't know about this area. And she's if that
I think we saw some earlier
samples.
this morning, didn't we?
Mhm.
I thought we did
Yeah,
see
we did.
some earlier this morning.
Right. So I don't think were any of those collected yesterday?
There was branched ones,
A branch.
multi-branched ones collected yesterday. We collected 2. One was looking a little distressed, and the other one was a better specimen. Basically, they were right next to each other. But there were several around. Just right out in front, trying to avoid the large holes.
Oh, wrong way.
In there somewhere?
Avoid the holes, I think. But
Right down is fine.
Why not?
Yeah, just avoid the large holes.
Yeah, so right there,
Avoid the large holes.
like totally avoid them, like
There we go.
like nowhere near that area. Over here?
Well, we don't know which way
draw?
whatever's
Can we
in
draw?
there is living, so I would say away from away from those 2 large holes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
over
this
there.
far enough
That's
away?
good. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Going in
good.
here.
Thank you.
Here we go. Maybe. That doesn't look promising.
I do like how you made the noise as if you were the one who was pushing it in.
I am the one that's
I know,
pushing it.
but you're not quite using the same force right now with the.
You have to be like one with the vehicle.
It really brings it to life on the video. Too.
Yeah.
So.
The whole experience from the public, it's pretty convincing that that all of the Nautilus staff are down on the bottom of the ocean right now. That's how it
And
feels, even
Hercules,
though
yeah.
that's not the case.
Now we're sitting up in the freezing cold control van,
the
shivering
Well, let go of it. Hopefully
under many layers.
it stays. There we go.
Well, Steve, I was feeling like I was in the control van this morning. All of our windows were open. The heat wasn't on. I now have like a fleece on, shoes and socks on.
Yep.
The fireplace is on.
I was gonna say, if you turn out the lights and turn off the fireplace, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Come on.
Maybe go sit in the closet in the dark as well. We do recommend also kind of like the slow rock back and forth. Get the ship movement in there.
Yes. Yeah.
That I miss for
definitely.
sure. I love sleeping on a moving boat. Get rocked to sleep. Don't have that here on land at my house.
Al, can you zoom in on it?
do you want the lasers off too?
Yeah.
Still looking pretty salty.
Yeah, it looked promising considering that there were some ripples here, but I don't know.
Yeah, Bob, we want to break another one.
I don't think she's gonna go. Yeah. There's a rock layer under there.
I'm zooming out. So you
Huh.
Mm.
You could shake it out and try somewhere a little bit away from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's try. Shake it out.
maybe right where those holes are.
Yeah, that looks like a good spot.
It's already pre-dug. Oh,
What's staying?
Look like it's good dirt. Gonna stand in there.
You want to do that?
Oh, you mean keep it?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that enough?
what do you think, watch leads?
Wow.
It's
If it'll
staying.
stay in there, that's probably
Yeah, but
enough.
I didn't
huh?
grab it the way I wanted to
Jim?
grab it to put it away. So that's
Oh.
Yeah,
that adds to the
they
challenge.
usually they go a
Is
lot
it-
deeper, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, your
We'll
call.
take what we can
Well, I
get.
didn't grab it like I was gonna put it
Yeah.
away, but I can try putting it
Okay.
away. Let's just do it.
Okay. It's just
My-
adding to the drama and suspense.
It's
Going over to sample.
starting to slightly slough out. Still in there.
I've got
Racing
my
the clock.
fingers and toes crossed.
need some-
Probably maybe like 3 to 4 centimeters maximum.
some dramatic music.
Come on. Is anyone else holding their breath or just me?
I think we all are.
I can't hear you. I got my eyes and my ears and my mouth all closed.
Woo!
All right.
We're happy with that. Maybe-
Well done.
We'll call that a sample, yeah.
We'll call it a sample.
All right.
Steve.
Call it something.
Can't impress Steve.
Are we just doing the one?
Yeah, for right
Yay.
now.
Let's not try our luck. We got one more to go.
Steve, what's our
Well, we
sample
only
number?
have one.
2-2.
We only have one functional push core left, right? At
That's
this point?
correct.
That's right.
Okay. Jan, do you want me to add a note in the dive recovery report under team communications? That's where they earlier team noted the Niskins that didn't fire. I could put in there that we had
We only have one.
some of the cores.
sa-
Yeah, some
one-
of the cores.
Yeah. What is that,
failed
number
and we only have
5?
one left.
Yeah.
The Niskins that didn't fire are 2 and 3. We have 6 open still.
Yeah, look at the top of that.
Definitely
Yeah, number
wobbly.
1 is a little broken also.
Okay, science. Shall we
Okay.
continue towards this temporary waypoint we had dropped in between the 2 narrower
Yes.
contours? Alrighty. Any particular way? Do we want to zigzag up it or just kind of a diagonal
We
shot?
can just go straight towards it. It kind of almost follows that contour line, but there's some missing data in there.
Okay.
And Sam, let me know when we get more than 100 meters from this point.
Okay, from our current sample spot to this new temporary waypoint, it's about 90 meters. Bridge nav.
Hey, Justin, your mic is open.
40 meters, 066. Zero 66 pilots.
Copy that.
Oh. All right. I was wondering why Bob was just leaning back.
Wait, what?
I was wondering why you were just leaning back.
Oh,
I was like,
Yeah.
who's driving this bus?
Paul's getting some seat time today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good time for it. Looks like the current dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's been making my job hard.
Yeah.
Probably turn that joy gain down again.
Yeah, already got it down to 65. You
Okay.
think?
No, that's good. I didn't look at the number. I was just saying.
Yeah.
Without looking.
I haven't seen as many sea pens on this dive. It looks like there's a little one there next to that whelk.
Let's take a look.
Yep. Yeah, there's one there.
Al, do you want to zoom in a little bit? Or
We put the lasers back on too when you have a chance.
let's see if I can get that.
Oh, a little coral there, too, to the right of the walk.
Mm-hmm.
A tiny brittle star on it.
They'll grow up together.
All right, let's zoom back out.
And the ship is starting
Yeah, we
its
haven't
move.
seen many sea pens because we haven't seen a lot of soft substrate.
Right. I guess so. It's finally deep enough here for them to be able to get their peduncle, I believe it's called, into the sediments to get a good
Mhm.
hold.
Yeah, so Meredith thinks that may have been a peninsula. So is that about as large as that genus will get?
All right, let's zoom in now.
He looks angry.
So vibrant.
All right.
I would be
wanna take
too
the
if
lasers off
somebody
for a
had a
minute?
camera in my face when I was trying to eat.
What kind of
Can we turn
crab
the
is this? Is this a
lasers
tanner?
off for a second?
How many zoom out? Just a bit.
Yeah, it'd be nice
Get
to
the
get the
thorny head.
crab and the thorny head next to each other without the lasers. I like the orange, red, white combo.
All right, let's come back wide. Will you come around on Argus's heading a little bit too? I think.
What were we shooting for?
We're shooting for 066.
066.
Meredith notes that that little sea pen we saw, they get a little bit bigger, but not much. So fully inflated, they can get up to about 10
Kinda
centimeters.
gotta go where you don't have the pipe in the
Pardon?
ugly old pipe in there.
Hmm.
There you go.
See, we're still seeing some ripples here.
Bridge nav. Three 0 meter 066.
We were earlier talking about some areas of the deep when there's mostly soft sediments. You don't see as many large animals, but if we were to look in the sediments, we would still see quite a lot of animal life, and you see some evidence of that from some of the burrows, so the holes that you see in the surface, as well as if we were to zoom in, we'd probably see little brittle star arms sticking up or other things that would hint at the amount of life that is living within the sediments. And then we can see here with this deeper sediment, the flatfish are able to get. Well, I was thinking that was a flatfish that was buried, but I don't think it is now that we're closer.
Nope.
There is still a flatfish on the right side, but on the left side, there doesn't appear to be a fish. But they would be able to bury themselves a little bit more here. We're seeing some more of that eelgrass, seagrass, frond, or what are they called? I think they're called fronds. Pieces of seagrass on the seafloor that have drifted down from the surface. So Jen, I know you've spoken with Tom and Caitlin a bit about transects and that you wanted them spread apart by at least 100 meters. Were you all thinking you wanted them to try to do another one in this general region, or wait? Is that a squid down there on the seafloor?
Yeah.
You see that?
I'm trying to back up a little bit.
You gotta be easy on the backing up because it's real easy to stir the dirt up.
Oh,
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it was still alive. Just moved a little bit. Maybe it's in its end of its life, so
Pan down.
not sure we'll be able to see it.
Interesting just to see one. Looks kind of like a market squid. Let it go.
Yeah. But didn't they change the genus of the market squid?
Oh, did they?
I think they renamed it.
All right, Al, let's push in.
But just plant in the ground. You're not trying to hover. It's too wiggly.
You want me to hold on the zoom until you plant? We'll go for it.
I think I'm planted, so go for the...
I think it's now Doryteuthis elegans. I mean, opalescens.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, a great reminder that there's a lot of life up in the surface waters, but when those animals are dying or once they're dead, all that biomass that's made up in the surface sinks down to the seafloor. In this case, this animal has come down, hundreds of meters to rest on the seafloor. Looks like it won't be alive for much longer. And I'm sure some of these scavengers, even seeing like the crabs, are going to be very excited to have a little squid snack.
I've never seen just one, though. That's super interesting. We had a massive squid season in Monterey this year. And friends who were divers in the area just talked about seeing thousands, both, of course, in the water column while mating was still happening, and then on the seafloor for quite some time. There was just so much that even the scavengers weren't cleaning up as quickly as normal.
And these were people on scuba?
Yeah.
Scuba diving? So still in the portion of the ocean where the sunlight, can be present during the daytime. That's where you tend to see the squid reproduce, and they lay their eggs in these big masses on the seafloor in sandy areas.
All right, Al, let's zoom in.
But out here at this depth, we wouldn't see their eggs. It's too deep for that. But if they, I mean, I wonder,
Do you have any more?
either that one's just dying, maybe post reproduction, and it's just
Probably.
drifted
Cool.
out and down the canyon.
So you get chocolate chips on them.
Yeah.
Did we get an ID on this crab? Is this a tenor crab or is this something else?
Crabby, crab. Yo, the camera.
To me, it looks a lot like the tanner crabs in the taxonomic guides, but I'm hoping that we might get input. Yes, Tom Leidig confirms tanner crab. California tanner crab. One thing I noticed on an earlier one that we were looking at is we can see these little white squiggles
8,
both
9.
on the carapace,
All right, let's
which is
come
the
wide.
central part of the body, and on the legs, and those look to be tube worms.
Yeah, I was wondering, Jen. Yeah, those are tube worms. That's so cool. I've seen them on rocks
Yeah.
in shallower water, but really neat to see them on a crab carapace.
Yeah, I would think that means that this crab has been at this size for a little bit of time. Crabs grow in not continuously because their outer shell, is hard. So they periodically molt and are a soft-shelled crab for a little bit, and then they inflate to a bigger size, and then their shell hardens, and at that point the shell would be clean, wouldn't have any of those tube worms on it. But then over time, those little worms probably, are drifting around and find a nice place to hold on. And maybe the amount of worms we see help us to know how long the crab has been in that molt, or not molt, but in that particular size of a shell. That's all supposition on my part, but I think it takes a little while for the worms to find a clean crab.
Jen, have you ever seen tanner crabs brooding eggs? I'm always amazed by how crabs can have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of eggs, or even 1 million eggs in a brood that they carry underneath.
I have never seen that with the tanner crab, but again, I have, as we were talking about earlier, most of the ROV dives that I've had a chance to be a part of are at depths that are deeper than you see the tanner crabs. But I have seen that on other crabs, shallower crabs, and it is interesting, the females holding those eggs underneath their body, underneath their carapace. And it's a nice way to protect them. Because in general, eggs are tasty treats for a lot of the animals that we're seeing out here. Other crabs, hermit crabs, these predatory whelks, I'm sure wouldn't mind eating some eggs if they could find them.
So
For everyone watching, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to plan our next move here. We are about, once we get to our next temporary waypoint, we've moved 100 meters or over 100 meters away from the end of our last transect. So if we do want to start another transect, that's now available to us. And looking at HIPAC and our, as we've been moving with the sonar, it doesn't look like there's much around. So if you're looking for a soft sediment, this could be it.
So Sam, Jan's audio's been going in and out.
Like that.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Jan's audio has been going in and out. Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Yep, here she is.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, it's a battle here for bandwidth at my house, I think, today. Yeah, so we're at least 100 meters from the last transect.
That's correct. We're
Okay,
at
yeah,
115.
let's go ahead and start another transect. And let's go east.
Directly east, northeast. What are you thinking?
Northeast. Yeah, northeast.
Along this contour
Towards
line?
Sure.
Okay.
Can you?
I just dropped a temporary waypoint northeast from the ship on a contour line.
Yes. Sorry, my VLink is just going in and out.
Perfect.
Yes. Go along that contour line. Northeast. Continue heading towards our waypoint.
2S. Okay, perfect.
2S. Yes.
Bridge nav. Step 30 meters, bearing 075.
And Jen, I'm going to catch up on a little paperwork because I know Erica and Kirsten are come on pretty soon. And
Yeah, I just saw
wanna make
Erica
certain
pop
everything's-
into the science chat. I let her know we're starting our second soft bottom transect, and yeah, go right ahead. I can keep chatting with Justin.
And Steve confirming
Yay.
this is transect 9.
You're right about that.
And a 120 meter transect again.
Yes.
Copy, thanks.
So Jen, have you been on some of the Davidson dives in the past?
Yeah, it's good.
Yes, I was able to be part of both the 2018 and 2019 Nautilus cruises
Yeah.
out to Davidson Seamount. And Chad and I seemed to have luck when we were together in finding large groupings of octopus. We were on separate watches, but in both cases, it was near the end
Sorry,
of
what was that?
So, Chad King and I, or Steve, were you asking somebody else for something? Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Chad King and I were on different watches, but we were coming to the end of a long dive, and we decided to team up and finish the watch together, and that's when we first found the the original octopus garden in 2018. And then at the end of our cruise in 2019, in the last hour of our last dive, we were working again together trying to bring good luck, and that's when we found the octopus on what we're calling the octo cone, so a second location with the warm water and brooding females. So they've all been very exciting when we find some of these really unexpected and interesting discoveries.
When you get down onto the seafloor and see all the life, it definitely makes me appreciate all the protections that we have through sanctuaries and other agencies to avoid things like drilling and disturbances to the seafloor in these really sensitive areas.
Right. I mean, we didn't know that in these areas surrounding the seamount, on these rocky features that are quite, relatively small in comparison to the seamount itself, that we would find, something like, hundreds of breeding octopus. It had never occurred to anyone that that might be happening there. So you just think about some of the other communities and that might exist that we haven't had a chance to see, and that if we, weren't able to keep them in good, protected from what could be fairly damaging activities, we may never know what we've lost or damaged. So it's nice to have the ability to find ways to balance human uses of ocean resources, as well as protection of those that are particularly sensitive to certain human activities.
I think the deep sea habitats are so unknown, even to a lot of locals. You grew up in the Bay Area, grew up in California, you probably had no idea growing up that there were bamboo corals just offshore.
Yeah, I certainly didn't know that. I did grow up here in the Bay Area, and constantly excited and amazed by what is occupying the deep waters and seafloors along this portion of the coast. Just want to pass along a compliment that the speed and altitude on Herc is great on this transect. Caitlin, who will possibly be helping to analyze this transect, says thank you. Looks like we're passing over another sea pen. But we haven't seen that many so far on this dive.
Pretty far out.
Yeah.
So Justin, did you grow up here in California as well?
I did. I grew up in the South Bay. Now I live in San Francisco and work in San Francisco. And yeah, I'm much more familiar with the coastline and shallow water systems and tide pools from growing up here. Even participating in the Greater Farallone's National Marine Sanctuary's Beach Watch program that Jan and Kirsten Lindquist are very involved with, head that up. As a volunteer there, I learned about all these seabirds that were really new to me, that were pelagic seabirds that don't always get very close to land. And, just kind of every year of my life, my eyes get opened to new species that I never knew existed. And it's wonderful. It's really inspiring and makes me realize how much work there is to do to protect all these habitats and all these ecosystems.
Yeah, we've been so lucky these last few years to get to work with the Nautilus and go and look at portions of the sanctuaries that have never been seen before. I mean, no one's ever had eyes on this little patch of seafloor. I think that's really exciting to get a chance to be the first ones to see it and document what lives here. And I'm also find it really exciting that people, whoever wants to, can go online and live stream with us and see it for the first time too. I think that's a pretty amazing opportunity. I'm excited. Right after this watch, I'm going to be able to zoom into a 5th grade classroom here at my local elementary school and talk to those students about what we're up to. Hopefully get them excited to live stream when they're not doing online school and learn what's living on the seafloor in their part of the world.
That's great that you're doing that today. I had a chance to pop on with an after-school program with San Francisco Unified School District yesterday for our ocean after-school program was kicking off a 9-week session. And we're going to talk more intensely about deep sea later and after the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
What? Target? Yeah.
Normally, while on board the Nautilus, you get the opportunity to do a bunch of those outreach conversations with classrooms that have signed up for the ship-to-shore interactions, and without that opportunity
Actually,
this year, trying to do a little bit myself.
I think just the posting the old videos, the past videos from past cruises, some of them, in their entirety. It's just this amazing resource if you go to the Nautilus Live website, what you can look back on if you missed it. It's amazing that this is kind of packaged for eternity.
How'd you get that? Maybe there's a critter on the transducer.
What's going on?
We're just trying to figure out there's something going on with our Argus sonar, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
there's just some noise in it.
yeah.
Is
The
it a
wild,
kraken?
the wild speculation is that there's a critter on it, but unlikely.
Another fish catch.
Yeah, hopefully not.
If this was later out at Davidson where we see all the octopus, I might think it was one of those octopus, because last year we had a few of them
That's
hitchhike for a
true.
while. And they're really sticky. Once they decide to hold
Sure.
on, you're not able to remove them. So Justin, I don't know if you saw, but earlier in this watch we saw, I think, what is the first octopus of our expedition. It looked to be a flapjack. We got some good video, and if anyone wanted to see that, if you look at the Nautilus live feed on YouTube, you can actually rewind the dive and go back and see what we've seen during this dive. And that's when we found out it was World Octopus Day. So seemed like a fitting animal to see.
That was great. I did get to tune in for that and see that this morning. And correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I heard Jan say a little before you guys found that octopus that we haven't seen any octopus yet. And then
yeah,
it was
well,
shortly
we thought
after.
we might have seen something tucked into a
correct,
rock
yeah.
that for a moment might have looked like an octopus and wasn't. So, yeah.
I remember earlier in this cruise, everyone was talking about what animal they would be most excited to see. So Jan, maybe you should say, it's interesting. I haven't seen any sperm whale on this this cruise. I would
It's
sort of
interesting.
expect
I
to
haven't
see.
seen any sperm whale. Oh,
Works every
maybe
time.
it's tucked underneath that rock.
We did see some whales
Is that
yesterday off the bow of the ship when we were diving, and then dolphins off the stern later in the day. So they're definitely around. They know we're here. Unclear what type. Yeah.
Someone mentioned, and I don't, if anyone was watching, I didn't see when Hercules was deployed on this dive, but it was at midnight, so in the evening, and then when we deployed Hercules for the first dive, we went down through quite a large amount of both squid and little midwater fish that definitely could be some of the things that those whales, there was also a good amount of krill, so those whales and dolphins, that might be why we're seeing them in the area.
This is definitely a prime area for baleen whales. We normally run our what we call our access cruises, applied California current ecosystem studies. And we look at krill, we look at location of potential entanglement gear like fish traps, crab traps, and definitely live seabirds, marine mammals, and we pull it all together and we look at different management issues, try and solve some management issues with this kind of data. Not only do we look at the abundance and
Too hard to
distribution
swap chairs.
of seabirds and marine mammals, but we also are trying to figure out why they're here. What are they doing when they're here? Are they feeding? Are they just passing through? If they're feeding, what's in the water column? So we're looking at sampling with nets as well as acoustically with what's in the water column. So we're looking at zooplankton. We also monitor for ocean acidification on these cruises.
Sam, how long
we
do we have
also,
left on this transect?
Also sample for harmful algal bloom indicators.
So I'm just
So we try and make the most of these research cruises. But typically when we're doing these ROV surveys on Nautilus, if you're not on watch, you're not in the van, this is a prime area for seeing blues and humpback whales at this time of the year. It's really nice.
All right, science, we've just completed that transect and just in time for the watch change. So you're going to hear us going off comms as the team in the van switches out.
All right.
All right.
See you next watch.
Great. So, all right. Yes, see you next watch. I'm going to also sign off of audio so that I make room for the new watch lead and side 2 to come on to the audio. So hopefully people who are watching can tune in again in 8 hours and see the end of this dive with us. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you, Jen.
Bye,
Thank
Jen.
you, Jan.
Okay, thanks, Justin. I think I'll wait for Erica and Kirsten to get on. I'm just finishing up some paperwork.
Sounds great. I'm going to join the first 2 hours of their watch, but I'll log off now, V-Link, just to make sure that they've got plenty of connection. And I'll come on once you're off, Jen.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think V-Link won't hold 4 stations. Hi, Erica. Okay, I'm going to... Okay, Erica, I'm going to try and switch over to Nautilus channel, but I don't know. It hasn't worked for me this cruise.
Okay.
How's everyone doing?